This week's episode is brought to you by our very proud sponsor, Slabbed Cards, who specialise in card grading with PSA and SGC. Slabbed Cards are authorised PSA dealers, and card grading starts from $54.95 and includes full insurance, secure storage. Slabbed Cards have 2 tons of backgrade safes, 24-hour surveillance, and are located in a guarded, monitored building. All cards are scanned on arrival and are available to you for viewing at any time, and Slab Cards provide automatic progress notifications. Your submissions also come with complete tracking and notifications from start to finish. Slab Cards also offer specialized shipping services, domestic shipping service with up to $10,000 insurance per parcel, domestic secure hand-to-hand shipping service delivery within 24 hours of pickup, and international shipping with up to $150,000 of insurance per parcel. Contact Slab Cards for a quote at slabd.com.au. That's slabd.com.au. And also find them at 60 Weymount Street in Adelaide. Thanks very much for supporting us, Slab Cards.
Welcome, everybody, to the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy, joined as always by Russell Gibson.
Greetings.
How are we on this lovely evening in Melbourne?
I'm good, mate. We weren't affected by the hail/snowstorm, so were you guys okay?
We didn't get much rain at all. Either that or I slept through it.
No, you would have seen it.
No, I hope it wasn't the hailstorm that blew, or like a cyclone that got rid of our hard rubbish. There's a little bit of foam left, and it didn't get washed down the street. But
I think that's the pickers.
I think we were pretty fine over here. Because we're sort of, I suppose, further east, and most of it was north, wasn't it?
Yeah,
central north of Melbourne. So we're good. We're safe.
Good.
Touch wood. It's good to hear. Hopefully, everybody that listens is in the same boat. And if you were impacted, hopefully your cards are safe, and obviously your loved ones. Is it scary that I'm like, what would happen if the house burnt down? I'm like, all my basketball cards would be with me at the door. The dogs would I would carry the dogs first.
All right, people aren't here for a weather update. Let's get down to brass tacks, as they say, Ad.
All right, let's hit it. There's a little bit of activity brewing on the You Can't Comp This side of things.
For sure.
We've also got some events coming up, or an event coming up.
Yep.
And it's all off-season shenanigans. So I'm glad there's stuff happening in the hobby rather than, because there's not a whole lot happening over in the States with the actual sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's kick it off.
Let's go. So
what's number one on the run sheet?
I think we should talk about Hobby Hangout, and it's literally in 1 week. So this episode will drop tonight. The 21st is the Hobby Hangout. So there's still tickets left. If you haven't got your ticket and you're in Melbourne, come along. It's a really well-organized day. It's fun. You get to meet people. You get to look at a whole bunch of cards. There was food and drinks there last time.
There was.
Yeah.
Fully licensed, I believe.
It was too, actually. That is a very good point. And look, it's just great to put a face to a name or a name to a face, and literally just look at cards instead of looking at them online all the time. I think that was the big takeaway for me. Is as much as fun as to look at cards online, it's 10 times more fun to actually flick through cards.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the personal experience of just meeting people, physically getting your hands on some cards, flicking through things, seeing what others have got on display, even if you might not have the bucks for it, the big bucks.
That's right.
I've seen some amazing cards last time we were at the Hobby Hangout.
Yeah,
it's just the same as going to a store, but everybody's there. It's like going to a big card shop, really. Like with everybody invited, it's fantastic. It's a good experience.
Yeah,
there's guests coming along. I believe Tyson Beck is going to be there.
Yeah, Tyson will be there definitely.
And is it Alex Collects? I think is one of the guests. I know it's a different lineup to last time, because last time I believe we had Grayson talking from Cherry.
Lane spoke.
That's right.
Platinum spoke. I think Platinum is supporting the Hangout in a pretty big way again. But
Yep.
So
look, it's a nice little venue. It'll be a great day. So if you don't have a ticket, definitely come along.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in Melbourne, if you're interstate and you've got nothing better to do,
There are people coming down from interstate. That's 100% confirmed. So,
yep. So,
and from our perspective too, Ad, so we need to put out a huge thanks to the guys from Fast Break Cards. They are supporting us. They're giving us a table. So thank you very much, Alvaro. Thank you very much, John. We're honored that you would put us up and put us on your table. So Adam and I will both be there. We'll definitely be talking to people, and we're just talking off air. Adam, you're going to bring your little dictaphone. So
that's it. I'm going to have my little dictaphone. We are going to do some live interviews, and it won't be up on next week's episode. We're hoping to record next week's show before we leave for the hobby hangout.
Yep, that's right.
So stay tuned. The exclusive content from the hobby hangout will be in the following episode.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, should be good.
We could probably leave that there, Ad. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Anyone that isn't coming should come. We'll see you there. Come and say hi.
Right, let's get down to some politics, guys. This is what we're all here for. Politics. So
you can't comp this.
Yeah.
Politics basketball podcast. So
this section that we're now talking or referring to is actually from a YouTube video, and I think what I might do this week, because we've sort of got a few links and references this week, I'll put them up onto the social so you can watch these videos, but it's from Bench Clear Media, Sports Card Network, and what they were talking about is the recent news that Fanatics has cut GTS distribution out of their distribution line. So what does that mean for somebody that's never heard of GTS? So GTS is the largest distributor of cards in the world.
Yep.
And they don't just do basketball cards. They do all types of cards. They do board games. They do stocks and supply. So they're a massive, massive company. For people that are probably then saying, well, what does this mean for basketball cards? What does this mean for, people moving forward? To be honest, the answer of that is a little bit unclear, and how this is going to play out hasn't been said. And also, to be fair to Fanatics, all of the moves that they've made, they've kept everything, very, very close to the chest. So this goes in tow with, Fanatics's management of politics and also management of news. Like, they're very good at shaping the narrative themselves. They don't let things, get out. And so I think where my thoughts are, for this is, so Topps is not being distributed by GTS anymore. It's going to be done from Fanatics. My personal viewpoint of this is like a test run. So they'll start with Topps, and then if they then acquire Panini, or if they then begin to oversee Panini or umbrella management, potentially they'll distribute that in the future too. That's what I think, the long-term play is. I would also say too, doing it like this, it gives them an opportunity to create those distribution lines, because for all the negative feedback, and if you go online about GTS and you start to do a bit of reading about them, that everything that's said about GTS isn't positive.
Yeah.
They also have a very, very extensive network of distribution already in place. So for the product to get out to people and that to be uninterrupted, Fanatics have got a lot of work to do. So that for me is going to be the interesting part. And also, I can't imagine they could do the amount of distribution that GTS do just straight off the bat. To me, that's just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we know that this is these are building blocks for Fanatics.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the foundations of a bigger platform, and you can see things starting to fall into place.
Well,
you can see chess pieces being moved on a board, right?
That's right, and that's literally the foundation of their business model, that they cut out the middleman and they create the product and deliver it straight to the consumer. So you can't say this is a shock. Like, when I read about this, I'm not shocked.
Yeah. It's a tricky one, isn't it, though? Like, change is scary, and when you see a large distributor being completely cut out, you're like, whoa.
Well, the largest.
Whoa. Yeah. It's it's definitely it's not a small move by any means.
No. So the only thing that what was said in the video, which I believe is factually incorrect, and I've actually reached out to someone from GTS. I can't disclose who I spoke to, but they actually said that they haven't lost the worldwide license. All they've lost is the US license for Topps. So now there's one of two things that's at play here is that, and this is, I'm half saying this is a joke and I'm half saying it's serious. Sometimes I think Americans think that the whole world is America. So they don't actually realize that there's,
Yeah, I take your meaning. Yeah.
other continents in the world, and there's other places in the world that also consume cards, and that, yes, GTS.
Whatever gives you that idea? I don't know.
I mean, this is just the people that I've traveled with who are Americans. Like, they've, most Americans are very pro-America. So
yes,
in their opinion,
in their sports, when they win, their sport is the World Series of baseball. Whoever wins the NBA World Champions of basketball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally America that's how they view America.
Yeah.
It is the center of their universe and the only country on the planet.
Yeah.
So global perspectives, I guess they know the rest of the world exists, but I guess they don't care as much. Which is fine.
So as much as, Bench Clear Media are giving a world first, is it possible that YouCantCompthis is also providing a world first and, clarifying that point in that
that's it.
It's not a world distribution thing they're losing. Look, it's still, all jokes aside, it's a massive, massive blow to GTS.
So they haven't lost global distribution. Is that what's going to happen with the Topps NBL cards then?
Look, that could still be distributed by GTS in that instance. Yeah, so I think any Topps that's coming out to Australia will still go through the normal, chain.
Yeah. I still think there's moves to be made. I still think
you could get product from Fanatics into Australia that would be Topps basketball. I still think that could be happening too. So
yeah.
What's your thoughts about GTS, about the pros and cons of GTS? Because I wanted to talk about a little bit about this too, and address some of the things that they spoke about on the video about that. What's your thoughts about that?
Look, I'll level with you. I didn't see the video. I looked at it and went, oh, great, distribution, just what I want to not hear about. And
you did zero prep, is what I'm hearing.
That's my usual. That's my level. I've got to be consistent. One thing I'm consistent with.
Well, you're honest.
Bugger all preparation.
Yeah. Bugger all and honest. These two things are good, Adam. I think.
We stick with the positives.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. My strengths.
Okay.
I have worked with, but looking at distribution as a whole.
Yeah.
Look, there are a lot of positives with a large distribution company, but there's also complacency that happens. Do you know what I mean? Like when one entity controls so much, change, or how do I put this in a diplomatic sense? Change can unveil flaws in the system.
Mm-hmm.
Things can get mundane, routine, and I think that the world is changing, and maybe smaller distribution arms are required to get the job done.
Yeah,
things can get lost in the big machines these days.
I completely agree with that. So, and probably that will be what my concern is if Fanatics takes over everything, is how they're going to manage all of the tiny little vessels and the tiny little people out there and the tiny little groups out there. And look, part of that, to be fair, is my own self-interest. How am I going to get product? I'm also been thinking about that, So But in saying that, I've navigated it other times before, and it's always worked out. So it's just something else. It'll be resolved in some capacity.
Yeah. I think, and this is just a gut feeling at the moment, and we've seen a lot of small moves from Fanatics.
Yeah.
I really feel like Fanatics wants to be the umbrella. Or no, they want to be the body of the Hydra. They want to create all of these heads. They want everybody else doing the work with smaller arms. They just want to be the ones facilitating it.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually a positive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you go through all these TED Talks where they say successful people hire people that know more than them. So in order to be successful, Fanatics are going, they're acquisitions. We're buying the companies that have succeeded. They're doing the things we want to do, and we're going to put those things into action.
Yeah.
And I think Fanatics are going to show a high level of trust in the wider in the actual hobby, as that anyone that specializes in an area, Fanatics is going to make sure that they're working for Fanatics to do the best they can do at that specific task.
Yeah, interesting.
And the more they do that, the more they get specialized people from different areas.
Yeah.
They're not just getting a blanket corporation and going, we do it this way because that's what the owner's the owner's handbook says.
Yeah.
It's getting the right specialist to do the right job.
Yeah.
I trust, because they obviously have the hand and their image in distribution, that this is going to be a close one to them about how they want it. They're going to be very specific how they want to run this new distribution. And we've only got a few years until it sort of takes effect. So yeah. I think they definitely want to be laying foundations now.
Yeah.
And if the landscape is going to change, people need to be prepared and educated before it does. I don't think we can just flick a switch and everything be different.
Yeah. Yeah. So my thought about this is that, so let's go back to GTS for a second.
Yes.
The criticism around GTS is that they get product directly from Panini, mm-hmm. and then they sell it to distribute to companies at wholesale price.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's two things that happen. The person takes the product and they then sell it in their shop, or they break it, or they sell it to breakers, or whatever they do, mm-hmm. or they sell it back to GTS. And then GTS then sets the market price, and then they sell it to all the people who have got accounts with them. And this is where the criticism comes from GTS, is that they resell a large amount of product at significantly higher rates. And that's what is different about GTS compared to other. So, for example, Southern Hobby, which is a large distributor also, they haven't lost their rights for tops. And part of the reason for that is, this is speculative and this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
Part of that is because they don't do this reselling part, and they don't set, I'm doing this in air quotes for people who listen on the podcast, the market rate. And this is the part where I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy from Fanatics and towards GTS, is because essentially GTS is just doing what Fanatics is going to do anyway. So instead of GTS setting the market price, Fanatics wants to be setting the market price. So,
yeah,
I mean, for me, it's like, better the devil you know. At least I know with GTS, the customer service level is X, the price is Y, and then you've got product in hand.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. So I think, where does this, where does that leave you with, getting product from Fanatics from? I just have absolutely no idea.
Yeah. I think it's probably not the last we've heard of this situation, though.
Yeah. And I'm not defending like GTS's business model, and, like, it is what it is. I think, the thing that I don't truly understand about it, and this is just my own lack of knowledge, is who sets that market price. So is GTS the bad person controlling the marionette?
Yep.
Or is Panini, or is David Adams, or who does it? Like, I have no idea. I mean, the speculative part of me now, and I've believed this for a little while, is probably GTS was setting the prices, and that sort of trickle down effect of the market.
Yeah.
If Fanatics is taking aim at them and essentially taking them out as their number one person, that probably confirms my suspicion, I suppose. So
yeah. It's certainly interesting, though.
Yeah, so this is my next point from that, right? If that is correct, if they are setting the market price, well, in that case, are we going to see a little bit more relief on box prices? Because Fanatics is then setting the box price, and they don't need to set it as high as GTS because there's one less person in the chain, right? So let's just say conservatively, there's a 20% reduction of after-sale boxes. Like that does add up.
Yeah.
So an easy way to think about that is, for every 4 boxes you would be paying for now, you're now getting 5. Like that's a nice little kicker for your breaks.
That is a kicker, and I would like to see that kind of saving passed on. But how often do big corporations pass on those kind of savings? They're cutting out the middleman. Why wouldn't they just maintain the price?
What I just said then is 100% speculative. and I'm trying to look through this in a positive frame, but I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here, right? If it is true that GTS is the person who's the, holding all the strings and setting the prices, and if Fanatics is taking that out...
Well, if that is the case, though, that's why Fanatics is making this move. Because they've bought the rights. They want to be in complete control of the process, especially with setting prices, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to lose. They don't want to not have control over the price of their product. Yeah. That's why they're removing they're removing, like, they're all retaining their control.
Yeah. Look, and again, to be devil's advocate, again, to the point we just made then about Fanatics being the good guys, and probably to support more your point, if you're buying product from Fanatics online, you can get it cheaper on eBay. So they currently aren't the cheapest source of product.
Yep.
Which would support what you just said.
Yeah.
So look, maybe is it the better the devil you know? And it isn't going to be all, roses when we get there.
I think it's going to be an interesting road, that's for sure.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on that, Ad?
Yeah, I thought we weren't supposed to talk about politics. That's my final thought. God, you make me think.
Look, so some people might say that topic we just spoke about is rubbish. It's got nothing to do with me, blah, blah, blah. But in some ways, it affects every person in the hobby.
Every person in the hobby. People that don't collect basketball cards probably won't be impacted.
But they're not going to be listening to the podcast either, Ad.
They might. By accident, but...
So,
oh, God.
This next discussion point was taken from NBA Hotspot Worldwide, Trade and Sell, Cards by Asian Cards, brackets Raymond Lee. The person who put this up is a Greek-speaking person, and their Facebook name is in Greek text. So I apologize, but I cannot say or pronounce your name. But otherwise, I want to acknowledge your contribution to the show, but I cannot say it. So
I'm looking at his profile picture. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
All right, let's call him Baby Giannis. How about that? Yeah. General debate question. I want to know just a general question. What are people's opinion on the enclosed officially licensed material is not associated with any specific player, game, or event? To me, it seems like Panini bought jerseys at random shops, and these are not even game-worn, let alone event-worn. They bought them, maybe there's a store, and that's it. Interested in people's comments. Ad, I'll open the floor up to you first.
This has changed very recently, hasn't it? Like what was actually in a jersey card.
Well, I actually don't agree with that, because I think what has changed is how they specifically tell you what type of patch it is.
Yeah, okay. So it's only just recently come into effect.
Where come into people's vision, because now it's on the back of cards.
On the back of the cards, and but it might have been on the back of cards for ages. But people weren't really paying attention to it, or the wording wasn't as inflammatory, we'll call it.
Yeah. My opinion is that there was probably some type of lawsuit. Probably some card nerd sued them, and now they had to put this literal disclaimer on the back of cards.
Well, I mean, you look at things like... I don't think I ever paid attention to what was in the card. I used to get cards and go, there's a bit of a basketball in here, there's a bit of a jersey in here, and then I started collecting more and more cards and went, all right, so did this come from a specific game? And they're like, okay, no, it's a game-worn piece of jersey, which is why if you collect something that's... I mean, I can refer to the comments in this article, but where, like, if I get a Kobe jersey card and the back of the card says this was worn by Kobe in a game, that's what Panini can verify. That they're authenticating.
Yeah.
That this bit of material comes from Kobe's jersey in a game of basketball.
Yeah.
But reading more detailed, this is an officially licensed jersey. It doesn't say anything about being game worn. Like, the wording has changed, or is our perception of the wording changed?
No, I think the way that we're perceiving it is correct. I just think this is new information for collectors to digest, I suppose. And I'd probably also, too, it's a little bit of a reflection of the world that we currently live in, where we do live in a progressively more litigious society. And I can't help thinking that this is somehow to protect their business interests. Someone spends $10,000 on a card, then they then find out that it's not game worn, and then they do like a lawsuit against Panini. Like, you can't tell me
DNA verifying the piece of material to see if it's got any.
You can't tell me that that someone wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like,
look, I'm not doubting
about it.
I'm not doubting that in the slightest. The fact that I've even suggested it says that somebody's thought of it.
It's happened. Yeah,
it's probably already underway.
Yeah. Have you finished your perspective?
They've changed the way they're doing it, and you raised a couple of very valid points. So yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. It's intriguing.
Two main thoughts. My first main thought is that if I've got hypothetically $2,000 to spend, and I'm looking to buy my favorite player, and I'm looking at buying a chase card, so I want to spend decent money on one very good card. Being all honest on the table, the card that would appeal to me more is a card that is game worn. So in terms of me chasing and putting money into a card, I think it makes the game worn material cards more valuable. And then I think that the people chasing these non-game worn, non-event associated, I feel like that just, there's a natural sort of dribble down in the prices on those cards. So am I saying that they won't be collected? No, I'm definitely not saying that. But I do wonder long term if the cards that are game worn have more collectability. So in one sense, it actually increases the value of cards that are game worn and, to a specific game or, game worn. So that's my opinion on that. The second piece is, so like, let's be real here. There is a very large spectrum of expenditure that you can do on basketball cards. Do I care that the hideous NBA Hoops Christmas sweater isn't game worn? I don't care, right?
Yes.
I just paid $10 for a random spot in a Hoops hobby. Do I care that it's not game worn? No, I don't. Moving on and moving forward, the next product is Prism. Now, this is to me the really interesting part of this argument is that if you read the back of the Prism, those really crappy patches that you get out of Prism blasters, they're actually game worn. The only exception to that rule is the rookie stuff. And if you think about the huge amount of blasters they must have produced in the last couple of years, like that to me actually makes my head hurt a little bit that they have so much, game worn or, day worn or, whatever it is. So that to me that's really strange. But where my opinions get a bit more solid and I'm probably a bit more, the line is sort of drawn in the sand is, so once you get up to NT, once you get up to Flawless, I don't think you should be paying $6,000 for a box of cards and the logos that come out of that aren't game worn or aren't event associated. But to me, I think that's actually unreasonable. I think that the high-end products, without a question, without any negotiation, that should all be game worn. And if I had my own way, it would actually be like it was worn on this date, and then the player scored this many points and had this many assists. That's what I would.
Wow, like full DNA, like a breakdown of the card. NT
and Flawless in my mind is the two highest products. Like Noir is kind of like a funny spot. Like if that's half of
Noir goes down with Spectra.
Yeah, but if that stuff's game worn or it's not, I probably wouldn't kick off about that too much. But like, let's be honest, NT RPAs, like, what are they selling for? 10,000 plus?
Yeah.
And that's not game worn. You've got to be kidding me.
This is you raise a good point, and I guess it sort of draws the an overall point. Cheap products, and this is about quality, right? Why would you call a product a high-end product if it doesn't have the best of the best as far as on-card autos, game-worn materials?
Yeah.
You can't. Could you imagine all of a sudden National Treasures is all sticker autos and all unworn jerseys and you don't even know if it's the player's bloody number on it?
Well, there are stickers.
It'd be a blank. But I'm just saying, the quality goes. There are some stickers.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you can't make them all sticker autos and then just get shitty jerseys that aren't. It makes a quality product cheap and tacky.
100%.
Without taking away the price tag.
Well, yeah. So that
you almost feel like you're buying a fake.
That's right, and that was some of the comments and opinions in that part. Was that's how people feel? Yeah.
There was one specific comment that I saw.
Yeah.
It's not a Giddy logo man. It's a Giddy and a logo man.
That's funny because it's true.
It's spot on.
Yeah.
That's a Giddy, and the piece of material in there is a logo man.
It's not Giddy's logo.
But it's not a Giddy. It's not a Giddy logo man.
That's so good. I wish I'd thought of it.
It's frustrating because, and I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation to have on a high-end product.
Yeah.
Flawless. National treasures are the best of the best.
Yeah.
There's diamonds in some of these products. What the hell are you giving us?
Yeah.
Cheap and tacky imitation. Sure, it's licensed material. It's not some knockoff jersey, but it may as well be.
Yeah. And look, that's probably where I sit, to be honest. I think the really pristine products should be pristine, and then, Origins, Spectra, Noir. Look, if it's game on, it's game on, delicious. If it's not, I'm not gonna kick off about it. It's as simple as that. Final thoughts on this one, mate?
We want to see Giddy logo mans, not Giddy and logo mans. That's my final thought. That's what we want on our quality, on our high-end products.
That should be the audio capture for this week's pod, I think, mate.
That's it.
Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au or shop 394 to 398 Middleborough Road, Blackburn, Victoria, and also find them on Facebook. Thank you very much, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us. Alrighty, our next topic is the best and the worst autos in the game. This was a question put forward by Travis Lambert. So Travis, thank you so much for reaching out to us, mate, and giving us some content, which is fantastic. So Adam, I'll let you lead on this one, buddy.
All right. Oh, look, I'm not one for analyzing autographs. I'm going to keep my thoughts on the matter very, very short and sweet.
Sure.
If the autograph is too long or too short, it's not good. If it's just a squiggle, it's not an autograph, it's a squiggle.
Okay.
If you're writing your whole name, it's not an autograph.
Yeah.
You got to find that middle ground that fits nicely onto a card. If there's not enough, I think, to be really critical of a big player, I think Steph Curry's one that I don't really find to be a big, like an appealing auto.
Yeah.
It's a very small auto. And then I'm trying to think of an example of a really long, really large autograph. But it's obviously be someone with a very long name.
Yeah, Bill Russell, Dikembe Mutombo.
Do they have really long and stretched out autos? Yeah. I don't know. I think actually Magic Johnson's probably on the longer side for my liking. I do, so like I actually quite like Kobe's auto. I think it's a good it fills the space well. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it can't be a good autograph shouldn't overwhelm the card.
Yeah.
But it also shouldn't be like, have you finished? Please do some more drawing in here because there's too much blank space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've got no examples aside from the criticism about maybe Steph Curry just came to mind.
No, that's fine.
But yeah.
Cool. So I put a little short list together of my personal favorites. Adam Schofield, that to me is like number one with a bullet.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen his autograph, please just Google or go onto eBay and just find one. It's actually the amount of effort he puts into every single autograph it's actually quite amazing. The really interesting tidbit of sort of useless information you want to know about this guy, he didn't know how to write in script before being asked to sign his autograph when he became essentially a professional basketball player. So he had to sit down and learn how to write his name in that long form.
That's insane.
I don't really know what that means about the current US education system. Like, is he just a child of that generation where what they typed on laptops more than using a pen?
Yeah, look, it's true.
Or
It's
he was an
modern
athlete
times.
that went through different types of educational platforms and essentially, you've heard about the athletes getting their marks bumped up and all this type of stuff. Look, I don't know what the truth is. Again, that's pure speculation, but that's, interesting. My favorite autograph I've ever seen is a custom Ja Morant auto on an encased autograph, and that was just amazing. The amount of effort he put into that, I couldn't go past that. I like the old school guys, Dikembe Mutombo, David Robinson, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. Those guys really, it's almost like every autograph they did, it was an honor to do it, and they really put the effort and the time into it. So they're my sort of big ones. And I think the other one that came to my mind straight away was Luka, because I feel like when I look back on this period of time in my life and this sort of, generation of hobby stars, he's got the most coveted autograph, I think, in the current existence. And in terms of resale value, even his veteran stuff is absolutely wild. If you think about what Luka stuff sells for, and I think he has a beautiful autograph, and it's iconic too. As soon as you look at that autograph, you know whose it is.
Yep.
And the flip side of that, in terms of worst autographs, to me, it's more about the effort that they put into it. And I know I'm being unreasonable when I say this, but I think there was so much expectation and there was so much anticipation when LaMelo signed. And because he held out for so long and he drew out the negotiations for so long, and then when his autograph finally landed, I was just a bit disappointed with it. So probably for me, that's actually at the top of my list in terms of the worst autographs. And then after that, the way I'm going to describe this is I feel like the current rookie crop from the last 2 years, the way that they sign is more like an initial instead of a signature. And it does make me wonder about, is that simply because of the volume of signatures they actually need to sit down and do? So the one that comes to mind is Tyrese Halliburton. It's literally just like a T and a H, and the T is so quickly done. Actually, I always thought it was a J. You have to really look at it to kind of work out, is it a J or is it a T? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting. It's very,
My follow-on thought to that is, do they actually need to adjust the size of the stickers? Because where I think that, so go back to David Robinson, for example, his on-card autos are just amazing, but his sticker autos, because of the amount of detail and size that he puts into it, I would say 99% of his sticker autos are cut off. And this is almost like a feedback or a suggestion to Panini. Like, I think they need to make the stickers double the size. And then that way it would give the athletes actually
space to
if they wanted
operate,
to fill it out. Yeah. And if they don't, well, then most of them are quite transparent. I don't think that would
impact the card as much.
Take too much away from the card. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Ad?
Yeah, I've been Googling because I just wanted to know what the actual definition of an autograph was.
Okay, lay it on us.
No, but it is. It's just an autograph is a person's own handwriting or signature.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to make sure if it, like...
So we can't sue Panini in the future, is that what you're saying? By technicality?
Yeah, I was like, well, it's their own handwriting is their autograph. So they... as long as they've written it with their... Doesn't matter what they write.
Yeah. What's your favorite autograph in your PC?
My favorite one?
Yeah.
I've got a black and gold signatures Kobe.
Oh, that was a silly question. Yeah, sorry.
I've got a couple of Randalls. I actually don't mind Julius Randle's autograph.
Yeah.
But I don't like... One thing I will nitpick at players like Randle in his rookie year.
Yeah.
Was writing the number 30 because he changed numbers.
Yeah.
Like, if you change numbers, don't write your number on your autos.
I don't mind that, actually. I think that little bit of extra, time and TLC, that's actually, to me, that gives it at least another 25 to 30%. I actually think that.
You like it?
Yeah,
what happens? Imagine LeBron signing? You get 6, 23, 6.
No, I think that just timestamps it to that point of his career.
That point, yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair enough.
And so, Mark Jackson, for example, he puts God bless onto his cards.
Yep. And now I think there's a lot of beauty in that.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's move on to our final topic of the night. And this was actually a PM written. So this is from Dane Neville. So Dane, thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and writing a really thoughtful letter. It's a letter. It really is.
It's a letter. This is what I thought when I saw this on the run sheet.
Yeah.
I thought we'd received our first email. I'm like, come on, there is too many words. Like, this is not a tweet because it's well and truly over the character limit.
It's definitely not a tweet. Yeah, it was a DM. So look, Dane, honestly, we feel flattered. We feel very grateful that you would do this for us. So like, just thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks for contacting us. And this was a good read. So take it away, Russell.
As I am a father of 2 living in Sydney, it's expensive. As so my PC is mainly low-end stuff, as that's all I can afford. I also go in breaks, save up for some sealed product and mid-range singles of my PC. I'd love to hear more about low-end stuff every now and again, like cool insert sets to collect that may have some sort of value one day. E.g., I collected the My House from 2021 Optic. I like the Net Marvels from Donruss and Slams from Hoops. Would be cool to hear about new ones that you like the look of. Also, I PC Jar and Ant-Man. Their rookie stuff is getting quite expensive, so it's more my budget to collect either base rookie cards or sophomore or second year cards. I've heard your guys' thoughts on these, but I guess I like quirky things to look for and iconic base cards that will be very collectible. Yep. E.g., I mentioned my PC is Jar and Ant-Man. I am currently collecting variants of the 2021 Optic base Jar, as it's both of them on the card, which I think is really cool. Yeah, that's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
Other examples would be 2008 Topps or Topps Chrome Kobe base, where he is being guarded by LeBron. Base card is now worth $200 now. Or Steph Curry Splash being the amazing three-point shooter is. I think these will be highly collectible one day. Would also like to hear a bit about buying and selling sealed product. I have been keeping a few sealed base blasters and fat packs from my favorite products in hopes to flip in a few years. Would love to hear yours and Adam's thoughts on this, what products to invest in, etc. That would be my only feedback, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. So yeah, Dane, thank you so much. There's
so much to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack. Yeah, absolutely.
As I said, this should be an email, so we could dedicate a whole episode to this. This is literally there's a lot. There's all jokes aside, there is a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of what Dane's asking for here.
Yeah.
Like I think this is definitely stuff where we could sort of delve in a different direction.
Yeah. I actually agree with Dane what he's saying. We should talk about more low end stuff, because let's be honest, more people probably do collect low end than high end.
Yep.
So maybe we need to keep a little bit of a track on this moving forward, and every 2 or 3 weeks, we do this. So yeah, Dane, thank you for the feedback, mate. It's very good. Yep.
Well, and it's something when we have been looking at a specific player, just looking at different budget options, but definitely expanding on that and it doesn't necessarily. I do like the point. It doesn't always have to be rookie cards. Like, we get it. That's where the investment value is found most of the time.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good to come out of different sets. Like, you're talking about that 2008 Topps Chrome Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great example of a card that when it was released was not an extremely valuable card, and is now something that sort of spikes. The other thing with low end cards, I guess, is they probably stay around that low end, but they do increase, but relative to the product they were broken from.
Yeah. So I think where this question, you could also look at this question from a perspective of what happened with the Net Marvels, because if you remember, no one cared about Net Marvels.
Nope.
Like, literally no one cared. And then whatever happened in the world with COVID and whatever happened in the world of entertainment with the Marvel
franchise
universe exploding, I actually think where the prices increased from was people who didn't collect cards came across. So if you're looking in the future and, trying to speculate on that type of stuff, maybe that's the viewpoint that you sort of look at it from. So the one that comes to my mind for that is the Mosaic insert set, the Jam Masters, because they've heavily leaning into video games and NBA Jam with that.
Yeah.
There's 3 sets of that, and the last set that they did was essentially like a big head version, which we all know that was like a mode you could unlock in NBA Jam.
Yep.
So the problem is with that, that's very heavy speculation. Like that's even more speculative than buying into, say, a second round pick and hoping, like Jordan Poole.
Yep.
And hoping they get big. Like that's, so, my strong advice around that is there's 3 sets out of Jam Masters. Buy the one that you like the best. So that if it doesn't get big, you go out of it. Or the other way you could play it too is, there's some really good plays in that chase set. You just buy the LeBrons.
Yeah.
Or you just buy the Giannis's and then you sort of leave it at that. Because I think in those sets, you're not going to lose a lot on those 2 particular guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another point to the hobby, as well as maybe a discussion point, and sometimes we do get lost in the value side of things.
Yeah.
It's not always about value. It's about things that look cool. It's about, like, do you know what I mean? Like the little quirks, as we just pointed out. And maybe we don't do that enough. Maybe we don't go into quirky cards or cool looking stuff.
Yep.
That's and that's that every card you collect does not need to set the world on fire.
No.
And 100x over the next 5 years, right?
No.
But it's like, if you're a collector of a player X, like Jar's a great example. Jar's an amazing example because he's in the spotlight. Yep, his rookie cards are in that. They're definitely a lot of the rookie cards that are in the not obtainable range if you're on a low budget. But there's a lot of base stuff out there. There's a lot of inserts with those players on them. And it's a good place to grow your PC and look for, as you said, good-looking cards. You want a card with Ant-Man and Jar on it, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's a sick card, man.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got one of, in my PC, I don't know, I never knew which side to put it on. It went with the Kobe side. But I've got, like, an iMac dual auto with Julius Randle. And both players I PC'd. So it was like, cool, it's a dual, it's 2
for the price of 1.
Correct. Yeah. And but seeing things like that and going, well, the Kobe example, it can go into a LeBron PC because it's Kobe guarding LeBron. Like, and just looking at things from not from a value perspective, but from an aesthetics.
Yeah.
And maybe we should start looking at some more random aesthetics, and they don't have to be the most expensive cards on the planet.
Yep.
They just be cool looking stuff. And I actually think, because we're staying on the low end side, I think Hoops does a fantastic job every year.
Yep.
Of bringing out a bunch of really cool looking insert sets.
Thoughtful inserts.
That's it. Yep. And they look great.
Yep.
And they take me back to the positive memories I had in the Junk Wax era.
Yep.
It was just like, I want to get all of those because they look cool.
Do you know what we should do, Ad? Is do a segment and we'll review each insert set out of Hoops. We need to give Hoops a bit more love. I can't believe I just said that publicly, but
yeah, I was going to say that we were going to do the Giddy logo man as the comment from the episode. That's it. You want to give Hoops some love.
We're going to give Hoops some more love.
This is content gold.
So, just a couple more notes on this. The Steph Curry splash, we've actually reviewed that set, and that was episode 3. So, if you do want to hear a little bit more about that, we have talked about that set already. So the only thing I just wanted to add to this, the reason why I said maybe just buy a couple of cards in particular is because I've actually collected the Jam Master set already, and I collected it in the Mosaic variant. And the reason why I say just be a little bit careful is because if I sat down and added up how much I spent on those cards, it could easily be, say, $300, because by the time you buy each one, and then you pay for postage on each one, like, it does add up. So then the other way you can look at it is you can say, well, instead of buying those 10 or 15 cards, I just buy one $300 card. Do you know what I mean? So that's that's also sort of where I'm at these days of like,
Yeah.
yes, it's really good to collect cards, but then you also get to a point where actually, do I need these 15 inserts? Am I actually just better off just having one banger?
Yeah.
So that's what I suppose where I'm leading to that. Now, in saying that, my favorite or the most enjoyable thing that I actually do is I collect entire base sets. I really enjoy that because then you're chasing all these like really obscure little cards and players that you wouldn't care about. And I'm saying that in the nicest possible way, but I don't really care about collecting Kristaps Porzingis, but I need that card. So now I'm scouring eBay and I'm scouring Facebook pages and ComC and all the rest
try
of
and
it.
get
So one step further than that is you do it in short print. And actually, this is what I'm going to start doing more, or each year I want to start to do it. And then you have the whole set, and then you see all the different variants that come forward from that year. And that's really fun because you get like a sort of a smattering of it. But again, I've actually never sat down with a calculator and worked it out how much I spent, but I also don't want to do it because I know that I'll be angry at myself. Do you know what I mean? Like being perfectly honest, like, yeah, it's fun, but at the same time, is it financially sensible? No, it's not. It's it's a bad thing. The set that I am collecting at the moment, which I think is a very fun set, is last year's Prism. They did a Team USA set, and it's got the different generations of them, and you also see them at different ages of their life, and you see the different uniforms from Dream Team. So I really like that. The silver pressings of that card are just like, moi. Honestly, I really like that. So in terms of like a low end chase that you'll get some really big names in it, I would put that to my current top of the list.
Yeah.
The next point he brought up was buying and selling sealed. So I'll let you start with this ad because I've actually got a few thoughts on it, and I want to hear what you have to say first. Yeah.
All right. So I'm probably gonna. I don't know how similar we'll have an opinion. Look, there's some sealed product, and I'll say it's the higher end stuff. That is a good investment, right? Like if there's a big rookie in the rookie class that if you put away a box of Prism Hobby, likelihood is in 10 years' time it will be worth more than what you paid for it today.
100%.
As a general rule, right? 20 years, probably even more. Yeah. Easy. I have a box of hoops from, what was it, 15-16. Devin Booker's rookie year. I don't remember where I got them. I think it was from when I used to flip cards down at the local basketball stadium. But like I've got a box of 17-18 hoops and 15-16. I'm not looking to put them away in a vault because they're hoops. They might be worth a little bit more because the way the market changed dramatically. But I don't know. I struggle to not open cards if I've got them. Which I've done really well with the hoops boxes. But I don't know, if you've got a limited budget, at what point are you investing in the product or are you collecting cards? And if you've got a limited budget, sort of put your budget to what you enjoy, rather than prospecting on something that may or may not increase in value. So if you're going to go and lay out what, like almost $2,000 and buy a box of Prism Hobby, sure, it might be worth 10 in 10 years. But if you want to enjoy your time in the hobby, this is just my personal preference. I'm definitely not an expert at this, and I probably lost money in the long run on it because I just enjoy opening packs. But either buy the box to open, the blasters to open, or invested in, save that money and go and buy a nice jar or a nice Ant-Man.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's sort of the one thing that's sticking in my head is the low budget. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if you've got limited funds, you can't space yourself across a number of platforms. Try and hone into where you're going to get the most enjoyment. And I think looking at a sealed box is not going to bring you that.
Okay.
Your turn.
Yeah. So what you've just said then, I've got no problems with that. And at the end of the day, the most important thing in the hobby is to bring joy. So no troubles with that. But answering his question more specifically is about
investment,
buying and selling sealed product. Okay. So the thing that, if I can only teach one point right now is about Buying and selling is about buying it at the right price and selling it at the right price. And where I'm going with this is, so $20 US is the price of a blaster box that it gets sold for at Target. And if you're paying $100 from eBay as a flipper, in terms of you putting that away and then selling it in the future, the prices, you've already paid 5x higher for it.
Yep.
So what you really need to be trying to do is getting it at a good price and then putting it away. And then if you can make 5x of it, that's an amazing return on investment. But someone else has already made that. So I think
that's good maths on that.
Where
That
I
makes
got
sense.
burnt horribly is when that whole thing happened. It was so hard to get product. You couldn't buy product. And it's not that I panicked, but I bought what was available to me. And then when the market dropped, I was left with all this stock that,
You
went down.
overpaid for.
Yeah, it went down 2x or 3x or whatever the hell happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just, so that's the thing in terms of like buying and selling. You need to sort of keep that in your head. And so you need to understand is what is the baseline cost of the product? So actually, if you go into Card Ladder, you can see the fluctuations in box prices. And that actually helps you sort of like get a gauge of like where you're at. So what you've mentioned in your message, mate, is about putting away retail. And at the end of the day, if the money you've got affords you to invest into retail, then that's fantastic. And actually, you've made a good investment with the money that you've got. But in terms of long-term, 10 years or 20 years time, the product that I think people will chase more heavily is going to be hobby. So Prism Hobby is the one that comes to mind because that's got the rookie card that everybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that too, the market is fickle and the market moves from month to month. So the product this year that actually has done the best in terms of moving upwards was Origins. That was the most heavily purchased product that you would not expect. And I think the reason for that is because it had on-card autographs in it. And it also had this
if
huge...
You're going to tell me game-worn jerseys?
No, it had this huge runtime. Because remember when Origins dropped to when Noir dropped? What was it, 3 months? So essentially, like, people were breaking that for 3 months. So if you had bought that on the, say, 2 weeks after release date and you're hanging on to it now, you've probably 2x'd your money in less than a year. And in terms of, making investments and all that type of stuff, like, you tell me like a share that's 2x'd in less than a year, and that will be like on the front of some type of investment paper or something, right? So you do need to sort of have your finger on the pulse a little bit in terms of what's buying and selling. The only thing you need to be slightly wary about in the current climate of product is that you need to understand what cards in the product are redemptions. So what that means is, going back a couple of years, Donovan Mitchell was a redemption in 17-18. And once 2 years elapses from the product, if you're sitting on a box that's got a Donovan Mitchell redemption card in it, Panini doesn't have to redeem that card. So, now that we know Tatum is probably the bigger prospect from that draft year, it doesn't matter as much. But there was also a point in time when potentially Donovan Mitchell was actually like the person that you were chasing. So if you're going back now, if you're going to buy a box of 17-18, you have to kind of say to yourself, well, if I hit a Donovan Mitchell, I've just like shot my money, right? It's gone. So think about that now for LaMelo Ball. If you go 3 years into the future, what's that box of Prism Hobby worth if you pull a LaMelo redemption out of it?
Yeah, true.
Potentially nothing. And considering the fact that Fanatics is taking over Prism, I actually think that the investment value long term of last year's Prism is going to be quite shaky.
You got a very valid point. Yeah,
for those two like reasons alone. So I think you need to take that into consideration. So where does that leave you in terms of safely purchasing a product that's a hobby box? Because if you are going to invest into hobby, if you are going to invest into sealed, I personally suggest you look at hobby and maybe stay away from retail if you can, but that's okay if you do buy into it. So I think that this current year's Prism has got less redemptions in it, but you can check that on breakpoint.com. Lane has done a lot of work around that.
Yeah.
And then you start to look at stuff like, iMac, you look at Impeccable, if you can afford NT, and dare I say it is flawless, I think that's really where you can start to, put your thought and research into.
Yep.
If I had my last 12 months again, I think Origins is like what I would have been buying cases of. I slept on that a lot.
Yeah.
The product that I'm actually watching at the moment is Impeccable Timor. The price point of that currently is 3 times cheaper than Hobby, and the only real difference that you don't get is the gold bar. So, the price point where it's currently sitting, actually, I think even if it was half the price of Hobby, I still think that's very good value. That's the other box that I'm sort of looking at the moment to buy up a little bit and put away or buy it and break it, because I think that's a good thought process there. Any rebuttal to my 5-minute?
No, I actually quite like the perspective. I agree. I agree on those points. The redemptions especially.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, "Oh, Prism's the set to get, so just get it."
Yeah.
What can I get my hands on? Oh, this is a bit cheaper. I'll get it. Why was it cheaper? Oh, because the redemptions in it are key players that you might not be able to redeem.
Well,
it's interesting.
I mean, even if we're saying cheaper though, like if you go back and you look at 18, 19, 19, 20 Prism hobby boxes, like, man, they're still 4x what we're currently paying today.
Yeah. Yep.
Like they're not cheaper. You know what I mean? Like it's still insanely expensive.
It's still but that's the thing though. Like I'm just saying, like a box of hoops hasn't gone up 4 or 5x.
No.
That's what that was the point I made. And
sure. I'm with you, mate.
So if anyone wants those boxes of hoops,
slide into Adam's DMs.
Come and see us at the Hobby Hangout. Russell will break them for you. I'll sell it. Then Russell will break it. Far out.
All right. It sounds like I need to negotiate my breakers fee right now. What's going on here? What's my cut in this ad?
It's just extra publicity, isn't it? Extra publicity all the way.
Mates rates radio.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I'll get you a coffee. Okay. Or something a little stronger than coffee.
I want a beer minimum.
Beer it is. Done. Yeah. Done. But look, and there was one thing. Now that we've talked about the Hobby Hangout, something I saw from the National, and this might be up Dane's alley.
Yeah.
There was a young lady that went around and found a penny, and she swapped the penny for a cheap card, and then she traded the card for like a $3 card. And she traded the $3 card for a $10 card. Like trade your way from a penny to a jar rookie, like to maybe do a challenge like that by going to the trade days and shows and things. I like those little challenges. I know a lot of them are scripted.
I was going to say, do you believe that stuff? Because
I never believe it.
Yeah,
there's a guy that bought a house with a paperclip. Have you heard that one?
I'm too much of a skeptic. Like I'm literally sitting here with a tinfoil hat on as we speak. You know what I mean? I'm not buying that stuff, man.
Google the story of the guy that bought the house with a paperclip.
I don't want to.
Traded the paperclip. What did he trade? I can't even remember what he traded the paperclip for. Traded the paperclip for a pencil, I think, or a pen. Anyway.
It's like people who tell you all the time they win money on gambling. You know, they don't tell you about their losses.
After I lost my life savings, I put $5 in the poker machine and it paid out 10. Woohoo! Winner! Oh my God.
Right. Yeah. Let's sign this bad boy off. Final thoughts, Ad.
Final thoughts. Come and see us at the Hobby Hangout.
Yeah, come and say hi. I'll be the one with the tinfoil hat on. You'll see me from a mile away.
I still haven't got my my Regulate the Hobby t-shirts made, so I'll probably just be wearing a random Lakers top.
Fair.
Yeah, just if anyone wants to make me a Regulate the Hobby t-shirt, I will wear it at the Hobby Hangout.
Yeah.
Next week's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait.
These are show worn Look, we cut this up. This would be show worn. This would be
event worn.
Event worn. There we go. God, it'd be an Adam and Russ logo man, not Adam and Russ and a logo man. That was gold. That should be the tag. That's the tagline for this episode. Yeah, you're right. God, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Look, if anyone else has got a big email they'd like to send us, like Dane, please do. That was a lot of fun. Sort of, I hope we answered some of your stuff there, and I think we'll actually go back and touch on things that you've mentioned in future episodes because it gives us some ideas and
it's very good feedback.
Love the feedback and gives us a lot to work with. It might involve me doing some preparation more than I did with the.
This is your criticism of Dane, isn't it? Dane, you're making me do preparation. This is not how I roll. Yeah,
this is like you may have. No, I'd say Dane inspired me to do some prep at some point down the track. TBA. But yes, really appreciate the all the questions we're getting.
Yep.
Lot of activity on the socials. It's been really good.
Yep. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you, Adam, for your time, and we'll catch you hopefully at the Hobby Hangout. If not, we'll see you next week.
See you
Thanks, guys.